Hi friends, I hope you're having a great week. Our guest today comes from a long line of cowboys and cowgirls, and y'all, she has put Pintlala, Alabama on the map. Dani Loeb is a 19-year-old that is a professional athlete, and she also is a member of the U.S. Aerials team. She's going to share with us how her cowgirl roots have been instrumental in keeping her driven and focused in pursuit of her Olympic dream. Hey y'all, and welcome. You're listening to the Cowgirl Confessions Podcast. I'm your host, Dakota Dawn Johnson, small-town cowgirl with Southern roots, blazing a trail as a Midwest ranch wife, mama, and businesswoman. The mission of Cowgirl Confessions is to share the wonderfully wild and Western life stories of cowgirls from all walks of life. We'll talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to navigating careers, cowboys, kids, and cattle. Legendary cowgirl Dale Evans said it best. Cowgirl is a pioneer spirit, a special brand of American courage. The cowgirl faces life head on, lives by her own lights, and makes no excuses. Cowgirls take stands. They speak up. They defend the things they hold dear. A cowgirl might be a rancher, a barrel racer, a bull rider, or an actress. But she's just as likely to be a checker at the local Winn-Dixie, a full-time mother, a banker, an attorney, or an astronaut. If you're into wet saddle blankets, talks with God, buckets full of laughter, and the life lessons learned in the process, kick off your boots and settle in. I pray these stories encourage, empower, and give you just the leg up you need. Here's to embracing the cowgirl state of mind, no matter how wild and Western life may get along the way. Dani, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I've actually been extremely excited once you asked me. I think I listened to almost all of the episodes. It makes me want to start a podcast, honestly.
You should, because you're getting to come in contact with so many amazing people. And you guys listening, so kind of the backstory of how I met Dani. Dani was actually one of the first kids I ever babysat. It has just been such a pleasure to watch you, Dani, go from being this little cowgirl, that I got to babysit, and watching you now represent the U.S. at a national level as an athlete. So I guess if you could just kind of start off by telling us what your journey looked like from being in, small town Alabama, and now you're located, when you're not traveling and competing, in Utah. So what does that journey look like?
I guess how I started was I did gymnastics from about 6 years old to 13. So when I lived in Alabama, I did gymnastics at United Gym Stars and cheer. And then I got up to the higher levels, and a gymnast named Shayla Worley, who was on the U.S. national team for gymnastics and went to Georgia University. She told me that I should be looking for maybe a more well-known gym. So I went and looked around, and I ended up in Texas, in Coppell, Texas, right outside of like Fort Worth, Dallas area. And then I was there for about a year and a half, and I got recruited by the U.S. ski team recruiter to come and try aerials in Liberty, Virginia, off of like an artificial, it was like really, really stiff toothbrush bristles is what we skied on off of a jump onto an airbag. And that was just to try it out. And my first jump actually off of the thing was supposed to be just a straight jump where I don't flip, I just stay straight in the air. But the coach that was there, Matt DePeters, who also went to the Olympics, he told me, just follow the jump and you'll be fine. So that's what I did. And I accidentally did a backflip off, landed it, and skied across the airbag. And you'd think that, it's Dani's first time going off of a jump, let's video it. No, nobody videoed it. So we don't have any video of it. So I guess it technically didn't happen if we don't have video. But
Oh no,
that,
it happened. It happened, girl. I believe it.
it happened, but it was just such a bummer. But then we had the actual tryout camp in Lake Placid, New York, and it's the same type of really thick toothbrush bristles, but into water. So that was when I made the team, and I think I was 13 when I made the team, and then I was there for a few years and moved out to Park City when I was 16. And I've been here since then to train. When I moved out to Park City, I wasn't on the national team. I just recently made national team in 2020. But before that, I was on like the club team that was out here.
Wow. Just, you summarized that so incredibly well, but for somebody, your age and making all those moves and going from one or doing gymnastics to transitioning into, being an aerial skier, what kind of helped you decide to make that transition, Dani? And what were some of the emotions you had? What was all that like?
So when I originally moved to Texas, I was pretty young, so I was like 12. I I was so dedicated to like start doing really well in gymnastics. Like I wanted to do well. I wanted to get those college scholarships. Like I just wanted to be the best that I could. So thinking about moving wasn't hard for me at all. Like the only thing that was really hard for me was that I was taking my family, like my parent, because I'm an only child. I was taking my parents away from all of their like lifelong friends and my going away from my grandma. I obviously didn't enjoy moving away from my grandma, but I knew that it was hurting my mom a lot, or not hurting, but it was really difficult. So that was the only thing that was really holding me back from making a decision when I was 12, but I was still like, that's really not great, but I'm going to prove that I need to do this. So that's kind of what I did, except for that I proved it in a really weird way, is switching sports after we moved. But then after that, it was really easy to keep on moving, because when I was in Lake Placid, I lived in like a dormitory. It's the Olympic Training Center, and I lived with 6 boys, 6 girls. So it was really easy to move to Utah because most of them moved to Utah, and if they didn't, I still talked to them almost every day. So they really became like my second family. So it wasn't too difficult to move, I guess.
I can hear that same determination and drive in your voice right now, Dani, as you were expressing that you remember having as a 12-year-old when you and your mom and dad were making those hard decisions and making sacrifices to pick up and move across the country so that you could pursue your dream of becoming a professional athlete. And while I'm confident that you have had a very full load and a very busy schedule and lots of responsibility on you since a young age in order to be at the level you are today, what do you think you learned being in that dorm-like setting with a group of peers at such an early age versus, growing up just living with your mom and dad?
I've learned patience. I've learned so much patience. Okay, so when I did gymnastics, I never saw boys, was never around them. They weren't a thought in my head, didn't have to worry about them being annoying, nothing. I moved to Lake Placid with 6 boys, huge wake up call. I was like, oh my God, I have to be around these guys all the time. Are you kidding me? Because, boys can be immature, especially when they're like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
So, they're my brothers. I love them to death now. But yeah, definitely patience, because I just remember being in Lake Placid and they would pick on me and I would get so upset. But now, like, if someone tries to like mess with me, I'm just like, I don't care. And I move on, and then they're like, what? You don't care? So I definitely learned a lot from the boys, I have to say. And same with girls. Like, the girls on my team aren't like normal girls. We're all very, I'd have to say, like, very tomboyish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably the most girly one on the team, weirdly enough. I mean, I still don't like dresses or anything, but I don't know. I just learned a lot of patience, I think, living there, and also just trying to figure out, because you're right, being on your own at like 14, 15, 16 is very different. And I mean, we had meals made for us and stuff, so we didn't have to cook. Thank goodness, because I'm not great at that. But yeah, I think mainly just because, again, I'm an only child. So I think dealing with having to be around the same people like that I'm just thrown into a group with, like learning how to deal with that was a big challenge for me. But now I think it made me a better person. I have patience now.
Oh man, and what a great life skill that is, that I promise you it'll carry over into everything you do, from here on out. And what does training look like for you? Let's talk about, just kind of day to day, but then also, like, I feel like you probably don't ever really have an off season, at the level that you're at. So anything you can share with us about kind of helping us visualize what day-to-day life looks like for Dani Loeb.
Okay, so I'll start with kind of summer. So we start mid-May in the summertime, and usually we do like 3 days on, 1 day off, or 4 days on, 1 day off. So that's so if we're doing a 3-day block, the first day we will have 2 sessions. So the first session starts, we have to be there at like 7 in the morning, and we warm up till 8 to stretch and stuff. And then 8 o'clock till about 9:30 is our water ramping session. And then we have a break until around 1:30 to 2. And then we have another ramping session that could either be an hour or 2 hours long. And then the rest of the day we'll have off. And then the second day, we'll just have one session that's like an hour 45. And then we'll go to the gym and lift weights and do trampoline. And then the third day is similar to the first day. So that's what we do in the summertime. And then with trampoline, we have this whole bungee system that helps in this trampoline that's not like a regular trampoline, and it's not like an Olympic trampoline. It's even bouncier. It's like the bounciest trampoline ever. Like, I don't know how else to really describe it. It's so bouncy. So they hook us up to bungees in this belt, and we can do a whole bunch of flips and twists that teach us the tricks that we need to be doing on water or on snow. So the water ramps help us prepare for snow jumping. It's a little bit safer. And for the water ramps, since we're jumping into water, our skis have holes in the front and the back of them, so that when you land on the water, it doesn't hurt your knees as badly. And there's these pipes at the bottom that blow air, and it makes these giant bubbles that we land on to also help our knee and back and like our whole body, basically. By the end of the summer, we're all wrecked. Our bodies hurt so bad. But then we have the transition into summer and winter. So I guess fall. We'll end water ramping in October, and then we'll start snow jumping in Utah like around December. This year we got to go to Ruka, Finland, and jump like a month earlier, which was a lot of fun. It was super cool. It was really dark. Like, I saw the sun, I think, twice the whole time. But winter jumping, we only jump once a day, and it's usually like 3 days on, 1 day off for our winter jumping. So we probably have I think 2 to 3 hours for our winter, like for snow jumping, and we just try to get as many numbers as possible. In the wintertime, I usually get around, I'd say, 10 or 11 jumps off. And then in the summer, we get like almost 20 jumps off a session, off of the jump in a session. So it's very big difference.
This is so fascinating to me. You sharing just everything from like the types of, different holes that are in your skis to help with your, landing in the water, to just all of it. Super, super interesting. Dani, whenever, you're part of the U.S. Aerials team now, but leading up to actually being on that team, like, how does that work? If somebody, dreams of doing that, what kind of levels are there leading up to getting to where you're at right now?
So definitely having a flipping background helps a lot, but I mean, you obviously don't have to have that. Like, a lot of people on the team weren't gymnasts. Some of them were just mogul skiers, or just regular alpine skiers. I mean, you don't even have to be a skier, because I didn't learn how to ski until I started doing the sport. So I didn't start learning how to ski so I was like 13 or 14. So to get to the national team, it goes off of a points list. So you have to have a certain amount of points in order to make the team, and you have to be doing a certain level of skill to get onto the team. But in order to start, I definitely start with like either diving lessons or some sort of sport that involves flipping. And then coming out to Park City has a really great like club team that I used to be on that helps beginners start going off of the jump and learning the basics and stuff like that to get you up to the higher skills in order to make the team. So the reason I made the team was on this points list. I was I think like top 30 or something in FIS points, which is all of like skiing, so all the countries.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah.
So what you're saying is you're kind of a big deal. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I think.
No.
No, so cool. And whenever you were talking about earlier, when y'all got to travel and how you said you only saw the sun like 2 times, you thought the whole time you were there, just got me thinking. I mean, man, you have gotten to experience so much just in traveling to all these different places to ski, as well as I'm sure with gymnastics. So, what are some of your favorite places that you've been? And then, places you'd even like to go back to where you could be more of a tourist when you're not competing.
Right. So because of COVID, we weren't allowed to go and tour anywhere. Usually they are allowed to and go see all the cool places, but I was stuck in my hotel room the whole time, so I didn't get to. I really want to go back to Moscow and tour Moscow. I really enjoyed that competition. Everyone told me that it was going to be hard because it's kind of, usually you don't have to walk. It's kind of hard to describe, but usually we have like a little thing that'll take you up to the top of the jump so you don't have to walk anywhere. But the one in Moscow only brought you to a certain point and then you had to walk. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. It kept me warm. But I really want to go back to Moscow for sure. We also went to Italy, I think 2 years ago, and that was super fun in Valmalenko. And then one of my teammates and I, and then my mom and dad, we toured Rome and Venice together after the comp, and it was so much fun. And then China got canceled this year. A lot of competitions this year got canceled, so I didn't get to go to very many. Hopefully I'll get to go to Kazakhstan. That's still kind of in the works right now of like if that's going to happen or not. But I don't know. It all together, the whole tour was a lot of fun, even though I couldn't go anywhere.
Oh man, just so neat. All the different places you're getting to go and experiences you're getting to have at truly such an early age. I mean, you're 19 years old, and while you probably feel like, you've been doing this, you have, working at this basically your whole life and staying very physically fit, just all that you're getting to do and collect these life skills. It makes me excited for you. You're going to be somebody that's a real asset to our world. We need more people that are driven like you. And it kind of brings me to my next question, Dani. you come from a line of just mentally tough people. Your granddad, Dick, and your grandma Judy, they're very well known in the quarter horse world. They were trainers, put on a lot of youth horsemanship camps. Your mom is an awesome cowgirl. I looked up to her as a little girl, and your dad, great businessman. So with coming kind of, from that line of people that just have really great, just kind of good bones, if you will, what do you think has helped you, with your mental game?
I definitely think that I'm a little bit of a tough cookie for sure. Like I have a very high pain tolerance, and I also mentally am pretty strong, I'd say. But I remember there was this one time when I was doing gymnastics in Montgomery, and I fell on beam, and then I was kind of scared to do the trick again. And my mom was like, if you fall off the horse, you got to get right back up and you ride that thing again, because you're not going to want to be scared of it the next day. And so that like has stuck with me my whole we'll say like falling career. um, like
Yeah.
even now when I fall and I have a hard crash and I'm like, I need to go home, I'm just like, no, because you need to get back up on the horse and do it again. So
That
that's what I
sounds,
do.
yeah, I can hear your mom saying that. Like that sounds so like Jamie.
And it's not fun to hear either. When you're having a bad day, it's like, you don't need to say this to me. Like, I got it. Thank you. So she is right. Don't tell her I said that, but she is right. Um, and as far as my dad goes, like I don't know, he was also a really great athlete. I don't know if he still is. I haven't like played any tennis or anything with him recently, but I just remember him being like, oh, well, when you're asleep, someone else is training. And lately, like that used to not have any effect on me. I was like, yeah, well, obviously, because duh. But now I think of it after being in other countries. I'm like, holy cow, they are training when we're sleeping, and I could be training even more, but I'm not. And that caused me a little bit of anxiety. But then I'm like, no, I'm okay. I need to not think about that. But that's also like a great thing to think. I like to think about it now, because when I'm training and I'm like, oh, I don't like that jump was fine, I don't need to do another one. I just think, oh, well, someone else would be doing another jump because they can. So now I just try to push myself even more than I have been in the past.
Yeah, you've got great parents that, like you said, they've been super supportive and really shown you kind of that tough love when you needed it, even when you didn't want to hear it. And I just applaud them, for the sacrifices they've made to make sure that, geographically you could be where you needed to be to pursue, this dream of yours. And just so inspiring all the way around what they've done, what you're continuing to do and work toward. And Dani, for anybody listening that, whether they're wanting to become a professional athlete or if they are just, they're more in your age group, because a lot of the listeners for this show, are in the over 30 club, but there are quite a few that are around your age. And I feel like kind of where you're at, and for the next decade, there's a lot of life that happens. And for anybody listening that's kind of where you're at or about to graduate high school and thinking about what they're going to pursue next, do you have like any encouragement or advice for them as far as pursuing what they're really passionate about?
Yeah, I honestly don't think, even if you are 30 and you're already living your life, but you want to do something else, I don't think that it's ever too late to start doing something that you really want, because you could do anything that you want. There's nothing that stops you really. If it might take a while to get there, but I don't think there's usually anything that stops you from truly doing something if you want to do it. So if you want to do it, you just got to put in the effort and go for it.
I completely agree with you. So well said, Dani. So well said. Now, before we started recording, we were just talking about how much you enjoy being outdoors, spending time with your family and friends. And I would love for you to share with us a little bit more about the things you enjoy doing when you're not training and competing, such as how you got involved with the movement Plastic Free Fridays, as well as your potbelly pig, Wiggly.
Yes. When I'm not training in the summertime, especially, like, I just love being in the sun. If I can, they have these rivers that people float down here. And if like it's a nice day and I have time, I'll go float down the river with some friends. So I just like being in the sun. And then for the ambassadorship for Plastic Free Fridays, I got into it because one of my other teammates is super into like helping the environment and stuff. And she showed me it. And the girl who runs it, Sienna, she is so cool. Like I haven't personally met her, but her like Instagram and just her whole persona is like one of the coolest people I think I have ever come across. She's extremely inspiring and I really enjoy what she does. So Plastic Free Friday is every week you try to go the whole like day on Friday without using any plastic or any, try to use as like not use any waste, mainly plastic, like disposable plastic, like one use. If you have like a, I don't know, I'm really messing this up, but reusable plastic isn't great, but it's better than single use plastic. That's what I'm trying to say. So you try not to use any single use plastic for the whole day. And you think, oh, that doesn't sound hard at all, but it is so hard. You go to a restaurant, they automatically put a straw in your drink and you're like, oh, well, I don't need this kind of thing. So with that, you can get nominated to do it. So if you get nominated for the next week, you post a picture with your reusable items, like a reusable water bottle or your wooden utensils or anything like that. And then you tag 3 of your friends to do the same. And then it just keeps on like snowball effect kind of. So that's what the Plastic Free Friday thing is.
Really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. And Wiggly, my potbelly pig, which you said is very big. I've not seen him because he was living here in Utah with me, but I thought that he'd be a lot happier if he stayed with Erin on her, or with Granny Maxine and Erin on their farm, because he loves to just wander around. And then here we're in a neighborhood, sadly. Ugh. Don't even get me started on a neighborhood. But so he couldn't wander as much. He did. I lost him for a few hours once, and he was like up the road at someone's house trying to get inside, and I was like, Wiggly, you can't do this. But yeah, he's with Erin and he's loving life there, and I couldn't be happier about it. I'm so happy that she took him in and loves him and stuff.
Instead of like social butterfly, it's like the social potbelly pig, he was just making friends there in Park City.
Yeah, well, the story behind Wiggly is the summer before I got him, someone dropped a cat off at my house, and it was the spawn of Satan. Like, this cat was pure evil. You'd be asleep and he'd be up next to you all purring and stuff, and then he clawed at my face, like he'd scratch me. I was asleep. Like he was the worst. So I gave him away because my mom made me. I felt really bad. She made me give him away. And so the next summer, like I said, I'm here alone. My dad and mom were like, do not get a dog while we're gone. Don't get a cat. You can't get a dog or a cat. I was like, okay, I won't get that. So I got Wiggly. I got a pig, and I kept him a secret for like 2 weeks until my mom checked the credit card bill, and she's like, Dani, what is this charge? And I was like, I guess I should probably tell you that I got a pig. And she actually wasn't that mad, but my dad was not happy.
They probably learned in the future to be very specific and probably said no more animals instead of no dog or no cat.
Well, they say no dog, no cat, no pig now. So.
Oh my gosh, Dani, I have had a blast catching up with you today. Just so proud of you. Before we kind of wrap it up, can you share with us long-term goals are like right now as you're training, like what's the next event you're getting prepared for, and maybe how long your aerial ski career would typically last?
So I think the next competition is hopefully going to be in Kazakhstan in a few weeks. Still, like, there's some bumps in the road going on with that right now, but hopefully I'll get to Kazakhstan for the last World Cup of the season. And then long-term aerials career, I really want to go to the Olympics. Obviously, this next one, I'm not sure if I'll have enough points in order to qualify for the Olympic team, but I mean, never say never, I guess. So we'll see. But yeah, like at least another 4 or 5 years. Like after this Olympics, at least another 4 years, because I really want to do well in the sport so that I have an even bigger platform to spread awareness, like the Plastic Free Friday, and then the Start with One Kenya, and then children's and stuff like that. So I'd say at least another 4 years. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I know you're going to go on and do great things. And like you said, just knowing that you're going to have, you already have a platform and you're using it, but just how you already realize that your position as a professional athlete gives you the platform and so many people that you can share these awesome causes with and just influence them in a positive way. It's really, really exciting. And again, I just can't tell you enough how proud I am. And I know like everybody in, small town Alabama, we're all really, really proud of you. So, this podcast is dedicated to really sharing the idea of embracing that cowgirl state of mind. And, it means something a little bit different to everybody that's listening. So what does the phrase cowgirl state of mind mean to you?
To me, it just kind of like how my mom said, if you fall down, you got to get back up. And I think you gotta, when you fall down and you come back, you gotta come back stronger and a little bit meaner. That's how I think of it, because not mean to people necessarily, but meaner in the way of like, oh, I'm bullying up to do better and be better in all aspects of my sport and as a person. So that's kind of how I see it, as making some turmoil.
I hear you, girl. Well, Dani, thank you so much. And where can everybody go to follow along with your journey to being, I'm just going to say it, an Olympic skier? You are going to the Olympics. We're manifesting it right now on this podcast. So where can everybody stay in touch with you?
So my Instagram handle is Dani.Loeb, DANI.LOEB. And then in my bio there'll be my website, and I have updated blog, like little blog intros and stuff like that. And then it'll have also news links to newspapers and stuff that I've been in. And then I also have a Facebook page. It's also just Dani Loeb. So that's kind of all the places. I have Twitter too, but I'm not very good at Twitter.
Dani, again, just thank you so much. It's been great getting to catch up with you, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for spending your time with me on the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm so glad y'all stopped by. If you could take a moment to share this episode and tag us on social media, I'd be happier than a cowgirl in a sea of buy one, get one vintage turquoise. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss an episode. New episodes will be released bi-monthly. Please leave us a review if you feel so led by going to iTunes. Your feedback will really help us breed the idea of grabbing life by the horns with a cowgirl state of mind into women across the globe. Some that may have never even had the privilege to throw their leg over a horse, but could most certainly use the cowgirl state of mind while navigating life. thanks again, y'all. Until next time, keep pursuing your dreams with that all go and no woe mentality. Remember, you're writing a story that's worth saddling up for, sister.